Climax of Night is the American French-bred game major featuring Under Night in Birth, Melty Blood Actress Again Current Code, Type Lumina, and Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax Ignition. With Climax of Night Final Season Break-A-Dawn happening this weekend, we sat down with Shinobi to talk about what to expect from the event and get people caught up to speed about the games and player storylines going into this weekend. Here's why you should care about and watch Climax of Night.
So Climax of Night started proper in November 2018. And the idea behind it was to have a fighting game tournament major that was revolved around French-bred developed fighting games. I would say like the earliest, just going all the way back to the late 2000s with Melty Blood. And Melty Blood Actress Again. I believe that's the first game that the community started to grow into something that was more than just a couple of people playing at a regional with just like a table at the far end of the ballroom. This was like 50, 60 plus players at these majors such as NEC, Final Round, and even it got up to the point where it was at Evo one year in 2010. We started to think about like, what would a French-bred major look like with games that are coming out, such as Under Night in Birth and Dengeki Bunko as well. I think with all of those games in line, we just had to wait for the right moment for the people to be there. And 2018 was definitely a time with the growth that the recent version of Under Night at that time, which was ST, was released stateside. And the numbers for that game were growing through 2017 and 2018, which did lead up to Climax of Night in late 2018. I think just in general, it's a pretty simple game to look at and follow. But once you get to understand how people act when in terms of the grid meter, because the grid meter is a very interesting aspect of learning how to not only play the game, but to also watch the game so that you can see what people's movements or how they would react when a cycle is about to end, or how people will react to get people to either shield more or be more risque with their offense or their defense when the cycle is about to be up. It's things like that that turn that game into like modern chess play when you see it at high level.
He has definitely been met with one of the hardest roadblocks of both these players. I don't think Red Blade is excited. Well, okay, never mind. He looks excited, but I don't know.
I don't know if that was excitement or
I think that was it. I'm playing versus Chaos. Baby.
So for Under Night, easily main character for this year and pretty much every other year that he's been there is Red Blade. Red Blade is one of the strongest players that we have in North America, and he has shown that every year that he has entered Climax of Night, which, you know, every year since the first one he put up a fight in against Clear Lamp. That's pretty much the main story. If Red Blade enters, people want to see him hop over the second place curse and definitely win. And it's a good sign too that Wagner is most likely the strongest she's ever been across any version. It's going to be very interesting to see him go through the bracket with this very, very strong version of his character. Big Black, he is entering. I think he is the only returning champion going into this year's Climax. Last year was a really, really big hit for him. That was probably his worst performance. Like you've never seen him outside of top 8 at all. You've always seen him either win a tournament or be like super close to winning a tournament. But that only goes to show how crazy and, you know, surprising these Climax of Night brackets can get. I know some Japanese players are starting to come in, like Tomio Kyo, who won Evo Japan last year. He's going to try to make it. Other players such as OmniDiag did amazing at last year's Climax and also got top 8 at Evo this year. Silent is also another one to look out for. Got 9th at Evo, so he's definitely going hard in the paint for Climax of Night this year as well. I just never had thought of the day where I would see a 200 plus man current code tournament in North America, in Atlanta, no less, in the year 2025. That is a huge accomplishment by not only the team here at Climax, but also the community, because without them, Climax would not be what it is. So with all of those players who are coming in, old and new, converging all into this one tournament, it's going to be unforgettable. It's going to be explosive, most definitely. It is going to be a great event for Current Code, definitely a victory lap, not only for Climax Night, but also for Current Code. Honestly, without Current Code, this event would not even exist. One of the things that makes the game entertaining to watch is this current generation of players who are branching out beyond what is considered like top tier or considered like super strong in that game. There are 93 characters in this game. Even though some characters are mostly of the same moveset as certain moons, there are a lot of characters in this game that still have like untapped potential. There are two people in mind that you need to be looking out for, and one of them is Squad Vermilion. Everybody knows Squad Vermilion. He's like 4-time the king of Melty. But since he started playing Street Fighter 6, he hasn't been playing Melty as much. But he is now extremely committed on getting his third current code win at Climax of Night. He won 2018 and 2021. So now he's coming back this year to close out his legacy with Climax of Night to get his third win there. And then on the other side is Skeleton, who is currently the strongest player in North America, hands down. And she went toe-to-toe with Moai in the grand finals of last year, unsuccessful on the win. So she's definitely coming back this year and trying to get her win that eluded her last year. Type Lumina doesn't have as many characters as Current Code does. I will say that the community does really well with character variety. That's also a game that does indeed thrive off of character variety, where we would see lesser used characters being shown in like the highest level possible at Climax. I would also say that people have been, clowning the Shield RPS for the longest time. Right now, after years of games and updates and whatnot, I would say that it is turned into probably one of the more entertaining parts of Neutral in that game, is seeing how people interact with not only just shielding, but how to come across as countering shield itself. I think when it comes to main characters, there's two in mind, and they come from opposite ends. Medusa, who got second in a extremely great grand finals against Shijo, who did come in from Japan and won Type Lumina last year at Climax. But Medusa, amazing player, put up a good fight against him. And also Moai, who I believe got 9th, almost made top 8. But it was a pretty disappointing placement for him. So he's definitely going into it, trying to do better than what he did last year, because there's not many opportunities and not many chances for him to be in a stage to play Type Lumina. So he definitely wants to do his best and, place higher. I think out of all 4 games that we host at Climax, it's probably the simplest to follow, since this game has a lot of IPs attached to it and a lot of animes and stuff attached to it. It's a really easy game to follow along. However, it is a very hard game to master because of how the assists and bursting works, and that is when the game gets deep. I think for a casual player, watching assists, even from more franchises and stuff from Dengeki Bunko, those are hands down like the most entertaining part of the game, is watching how people use their assists and how they interact with their opponent on the screen. There's one that just eats food and puts her head in it. It's like gives you power-ups and whatnot, and then sometimes it just gives you a full screen explosion. It's a crazy game. It's definitely a crazy game to follow. So last year was actually a very surprising development. Nadi won Dengeki last year. He was grinding the game really hard over the past year, and he ended up winning. And he beat Abister. I believe he won 2019, and Tamaki, who has won probably the most Dengeki tournaments at Climax. I think he's won 3. Between Nadi, Abister, and Tamaki, that's the top 3 in America right now. Tamaki and Abister have definitely seen some upsets at Climax, either through Nadi or another strong player in the community. So those are the 3 you need to look out for. Being around Melty players since I even first started playing fighting games back in 2006, 2007, that community was the first one to show me what community is. People can come together and talk about that game without any disgust or ridicule by anybody else. We were just basically in our own bubble enjoying the game. Now it's come to this point, like in 2025, where those games you would see at the end of a ballroom on a table by themselves, those guys ended up having a major. And I think it's important to understand the longevity of not only the games, but also the people in the community and what they will do just to play, just to survive, pretty much. Climax is not necessarily about showing these games off to other people. It's more of just giving the people who are already playing the game a place to play. And if more people show up, hey, that's great. We got a place for y'all to play. As long as it's fun for them and others, then, they're unstoppable. Follow Team Data at data_FGC. Those guys and gals are amazing. They're our partners and production group for Climax of Night, and they've been with us since 2018. Go follow them on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, everywhere.